Welcome back to the 888 Poker Weber Cup 13 here at the Metrodome in Barnsley. Dominic Barrett with a job to do here. Needs to just keep his momentum in this game. He's got a sufficient lead now in terms of those potential maximum scores to be able to make a few mistakes. And that will allow him some leeway. So if he doesn't get all 10, if he doesn't make the strike, then a spare will be good enough against Mike Fagan. Oh, and it just leaves that 4.
Well, just as you said, Simon, he'll be happy that he's got a spare. I mean, he would have liked the strike, obviously, but he will stay clean with this. And yes, the lead is sufficient that he can just keep the ball in play. He's got 4 strikes in a row. Fagan, unfortunately, with an open frame and not a single double. Now comes that spare ball that you're not over keen on, Simon.
I love it. What are you talking about? And here we go. And then Fagan will be thinking very differently to us. He won't be thinking this is lost just yet. He'll be trying to find that line. Now, does he continue with the lofted delivery? Yes, he does. And I'm afraid for him, that might be curtains.
Simon, you're quite right. That is huge curtains for Mike Fagan and Team USA. It's lofted. It's got the distance down the lane, but it's kept going. It hasn't come back to the pocket. The 2, 4, 8 and 10, and I've got another $5 that says this is going to be an open frame.
You're throwing your money around today, Cass.
I've seen these splits left so many times, and they're never picked up.
Fagan then takes his medicine, but I'm afraid leaves an open frame, and quite a significant one.
This is certainly not the best game that Mike Fagan has ever bowled. He's over halfway and he hasn't made 100 yet, working on an open frame. No doubles. And Dom is actually coasting this one.
Mika Koivuniemi's turn to rag on Chris Barnes, who gave him the moose yesterday. And a Brooklyn pocket hit and leaves a single pin. Let's just explain what the Brooklyn is. Most of the right-handers will go into the 1-3 pocket, so the head pin plus the 3 pin is their arrival at the pin deck. But a Brooklyn means that as a right-hander you've strayed across the head pin and found your way into the 1-2 pocket, which will be the left-hander's pocket, and you can still strike from there.
You can indeed, yes, but it is an errant shot. They're not aiming to go to the left-hand side of the head pin. It just so happens if the ball's a little bit short of speed and it hooks up too much, it can cross over. But they are aiming for the right-hand side of the head pin. Dom just spares the 5, which sits right in the middle of the pin deck. Can afford to relax somewhat now, Dominic, and have a little smile. Just has to keep the ball on the lane, and well, I think Mike Fagan also accepts the fact that this really is just about dead and buried, and we've only bowled 6 frames.
Again, sticks with the loft. He too goes into the 1-2 pocket, the Brooklyn side.
And he too leaves the 5 pin right in the middle of the deck, one of the most important pins in the setup. You have to hit the 5 pin to get a strike. And bowlers, there is a phrase or saying in bowling, you should never miss the 5 pin on a spare. It's right in the middle. It's on your strike line, so if you throw a strike ball, you should actually get it. But some people try other things. That's the way to convert it. Pretty much just going through the motion now, Simon. You can see the difference there. 58 pin lead for Dominic Barrett for Team Europe. And alas, poor Mike Fagan, only 2 strikes out of his 7 frames.
Oh, well, a split would have changed things slightly. And Dominic Barrett with a nervous smile towards Mike Fagan after that one. The messenger gets across to the 10 pin, so just has to tidy up the 7. We have seen big leads lost. I think it was Chris Barnes that lost a 53 pin lead to Kim Hagen Jr. a couple of years ago on the PBA Tour. And a lot was made of that at the time. 47 pins then the advantage on those maximums to Dominic Barrett. Can't see him letting that go in this sort of form.
No, the number one player in Europe is not going to miss the head pin. He's going to throw a strike shot and, well, he's going to get strike on 9. I can't see anything else happening in the last couple of frames. It's a better looking shot. He's made the pocket, leaves the 10 pin. Didn't loft it quite so far there. Bit of a smoother delivery. So just leaves that single pin. Can only be a spare.
Well, 189 is what he can make if he strikes off the card from here, and Cass, there's a possibility that he's going to drop even further than that, and that's going to be a poor score at this level.
It's a bit of a body blow. He's just got to accept the fact the point is lost and move on. Whereas Dom Barrett, again, hitting the pocket, but unfortunately leave a single pin, the solid 9. His game has been very, very solid, all 9s and strikes. And he's pretty much locked in, as you can see. Not even lining himself up for the spares. Just throwing the ball hard and down the lane, taking them away nicely. Goes through the 200 barrier very easily.
Well, Mike Fagan said to Tony Wrighton before this game started that he was pleased to be bowling. He doesn't look too pleased at the moment.
Of course, the other news is that he's up next in the doubles.
Yeah, that's a good call, Cass. And for the moment, Chris Barnes' strategy for session 2 is not paying off as he wanted it to. Good strike, though, from Fagan. And there is Chris, just pondering the situation. Well, you make your calls, you've got to stick by them.
He's probably thinking to himself, is that my doubles partner out there? Mike Fagan.
Barrett, once again, demolishes all 10. Takes the applause of the crowd, and quite rightly so.
A potential 230 game, 236 if he can strike out. He's not going to worry if he can't, the game's won. It's a pretty solid game from the European number 1 player. All these players will, shortly after this event, be going back to the United States, where the professional bowlers tour starts again in late 2012. And just for fun, he shoots another strike. So he's going to be 230 plus. That's another great point for Team Europe. Take the scores to 6-5 in favour of America.
Well played, Dominic Barrett. Very well played. It's an old head on young shoulders. And Barrett with a solid performance, 236 against Fagan's potential 189. Means that Team Europe put another point in the bag. And Osku Palermaa still looking a little worried, as you might expect. Mike Fagan with a chance to practice ahead of the game that he's going to play with Chris Barnes to finish off session 2. And I think there will be some serious concerns for Mike Fagan going into this match as his score plummets even further. And it'll be a long time since he's bowled a score this low.
And of course, the other worrying thing is in a doubles game, you've got to support your partner, and he'll be afraid that if he's not playing particularly well, Chris won't get a chance to show his wares, and the two players' scores together may not combine to be a winning score.
It's a pretty lonely time up there on the show lane when the game is done and dusted and you've still got to bowl out. But these players will take every possible opportunity to live and learn, as they say, on the lane.
Yeah, unfortunately, just 3 strikes for Mike Fagan, no doubles. And signs off with a 169. A strike on the last ball. As you say, Simon, certainly not his best game, maybe one of his worst in the Weber Cup.
All smiles then for Dominic Barrett and Team Europe as they secure another point. 236 plays an eventual 169. Dominic Barrett, convincing winner over Mike Fagan of the USA. So then we got one last match to come in this session. It's Scotch doubles. Europe in search of another point to try and level the scores. That's coming after the break.